Okay, some of you might be tempted to use a track change or commenting feature when looking at a paper. And what I want to do in this video is briefly talk about how to address, well, first of all, let's talk about how to use commenting and track changes, and then let's talk about once you have received these, because you will be getting these in feedback from me, let's talk about how to address them once you have them. Now, this varies from place to place depending on which version of Microsoft Word you use, but typically under the Review tab, okay, up here at the top, you'll see I have a thing that says commenting and I have a thing that says track changes. First thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to turn track changes on. This means that anything I change will be noted. All right, let's go ahead and just full screen this too. So let's start by talking about track changes. Now, typically what I like to do is I tend to come into papers like this. You'll see that I've highlighted the whole paper. Go up here, paragraph. So you'll see here that this should have been double spaced. And I want you to see this because part of what track changes allows you to do is it's going to make formatting notes. So you'll see here, over here on the right hand bar, this bar, as long as it exists, that means that there's something on the paper that needs to be corrected. And you'll see here that this is simply indicating to you, if you were to receive this, that I made changes using track changes specifically designed to change the format. Now you'll see here, I'm going to go ahead and delete that. This should obviously be italicized. It is a title. And you'll see that it indicates that I have done that. Now I'm just going to briefly look at this paper here. And another thing it changed down here beneath here is it got rid of after spacing. Okay. And so of course this should be consistent. And then of course obviously I would come in here. This is the other thing I can do with track changes. I'm probably misspelling his name, Greg Capullo. Yeah. You'll see here that what I'm doing here is I'm now, excuse me, adding in information. All right. These are the two things I can do with track changes. I can make formatting changes. I can delete things. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a record for whoever comes along next. And then let's say, for example, I'm looking at their thesis statement here. Under that same area, I have new comment. This allows me to actually write something to this person. So I'm going to say thesis statement is missing name of the author and artist. Okay. Otherwise, it looks fine. All right. Boom. Now, let's say this student receives this paper back. Let me back out of here a little bit. Let's go back down to like 150 or something. Maybe even just 200. All right. So we can see everything here. Let's back that up even more. I don't like that. Just go back to 150. Okay. So let's say now, just looking at this, I'm not going to go through the whole paper, but you'll see that there are things that have been modified, and that's basically where I was taking away after spacing. So let's say I received this paper. Now, the moment this student receives this paper back, first and foremost, they probably want to go back and turn track changes off so that nothing they correct then becomes this. Now, here's what I can do. Typically, I can right-click on this. This was a formatting change. Accept change. Boom, it goes away. I've already kind of done the work there for them. All they have to do, a lot of these like this. Let's see which one this. Yep, accept change. If I've done this kind of thing, all they have to do is hit the accepting. Now, this one right here, you'll see that the little line exists right here. And it's a clear indication of the period that was right there. I replace it, it's good to go. Same thing comes down here. All right, so let's say with example here, all you have to do to fix this is come in afterwards. I think it's 2 G's actually. Greg Capullo. Replace it with your own. This is why it's important to have the track changes off. Okay. Accept that. All right. Oops. Come on. Accept that. All right. Now you'll see that this comment, it's only really going to offer me allow to resolve or delete the comment. So if someone comes in and then actually takes this information right here, boom, which is what I asked them to do, once they've done that, delete the comment, good to go. Now you'll see that the bar here has not gone away. That's because there were other places further down where something must have been corrected, probably due to the formatting bit. Now you'll see here. So if I come down here, so I want to make all these comments that go away. The little formatting ones can simply be made to go away. And of course, this obviously needs a lot of work down here. But like I said, I'm not going to be checking everything. The key thing that I'm trying to do now is get it back to looking like a normal piece of paper. Okay. Sometimes you just have to delete stuff. So, yeah. If I back up here, whoops. Just delete this line. Of course, my works cited page does need to be on its own page, so now I just go down there without the track changes on. All right, boom. Now this means that we've gotten back to a clean copy of a paper. Now obviously this paper still needs some work. This was done in a previous class for me, and this was the rough draft they submitted to me. So there was obviously work. This is not a final draft. I simply wanted you to be able to see this so that you could see how this process works. Of course, there would be another thing here. That would be another little thing I'd correct. Now I've turned track changes off, so it's not going to do anything. But that's how that works. Typically, commenting allows me to give you feedback on something I want you to change. Track changes, under here, if I turn them on, when you get your paper back, you will need to turn them off. And you can turn them on when you're commenting on a peer review to give it back to another student. And then once they receive the feedback, they're going to want to turn it off, because that way it won't keep putting track changes when they start making corrections. But the other thing here is, once this is in play, the track changes allow us to do two things, whereas commenting allows us to make a comment about something. As you remember earlier when I said here about the thesis statement, and I wanted them to include this information here, which I wanted in the thesis, and then simply by copying and pasting it, we've done that. Okay. Track changes allow us to do two things. Remember the formatting bits there where I can just simply accept, and it also allows me to type in something. Notice what I did earlier with this bit right here with the Greg Capullo that was missing. I typed it in. Once I turn track changes off, if I just simply copy the typing, delete the track changes version. And this allows us to go ahead and move forward with correcting our papers. And not only getting feedback on our papers, but also what to do once we get that feedback to make those corrections disappear.